If you are currently experiencing a behavioral issue of any kind, feel free to email me as I do offer virtual coaching. And if you would like, you can go to my Facebook page and you can see all the reviews that I've had from previous clients. My name is Kevin. I've been working with dogs for 16 years. I currently help dog owners resolve behavioral issues that have developed in their dogs. I make the distinction on my channel that dog training is exclusively skill-based, while behavioral issues are largely socially related. So the focus of this channel is canine social dynamics and the relationship dynamic between dog and human. When I engage in resolving behavioral issues in dogs, I do not use treats, I do not use toys, I don't use play. My focus is on what's happening on a social level between dog and dog owner. So I wanted to give an update regarding Clark, the resource guarding dog, because this is a great example of how things can look when you are working through very serious issues and you have a dog who is more control seeking by nature, a dog who's very headstrong, and you've been given the wrong advice, so the dog is used to having a very high level of control in the home, and what it looks like reversing course on that, because it's not going to be an overnight thing, and oftentimes there are going to be bumps in the road. I usually tell my clients that progress is not a straight line up. It looks more like a stock chart where you're going to have peaks and valleys, and oftentimes we can get caught up in the peaks and the valleys, the minutia, right? But if we pan back and see the bigger picture, what we want to look for is, are we moving in the right direction, and are things getting better overall? And so initially when I had brought Clark home, the transfer went very well. I was showing them how to work through things with Clark, and that whole process went really well. And they said they went 10 days without any sort of incident, and then Clark began to test them a little bit. And so I want to read for you what Clark's owner, or one of his owners, had said to me when I reached out the other day to get an update. And she had said, "Clark is doing well. We had some flare-ups last week. 1, he went all-out resource guarding on John and I when I was petting him with a bone. 2, he had 2 freakouts when John put him in his cage, but all the times we stayed as strong and not backing down as we could. And every time, once we were able to get past that initial surprise of what happened, we made sure to get big." And she's basically saying we're becoming assertive with him, not backing down, showing that level of confidence and that level of strength that he needs to see from them. And as she says, and be firm with our voice, etc., etc. So the reason we were working on having Clark be touched while he is chewing on something that he wants to possess is because they have kids in the home, and they want to make sure that should one of the kids get too close to him or touch him or bump into him, that's not going to be a problem. And so the idea is that Clark understands that they own the food, the kids included, and this way of asserting himself in order to possess the food is not acceptable. So if you watch the video I put out of how I work through these things with Clark, you'll see that he did become agreeable to being touched when he had something. But then she goes on and says, ever since those, it's almost like something clicked. Maybe wishful thinking, but this weekend was amazing. He was calm, extra loving, and pretty quick to listen and follow our commands. He's still a 12-month-old dog, but I feel like there's a shift in his demeanor. Now, I had spoken with them over the phone, and I had said that this is a really, really good sign, because oftentimes when we're working to reverse course on these serious issues, you're going to have flare-ups where the dog is going to test you. The dog needs to confirm for itself that this new way you're doing things, this new way of being on your part, if this is for real. So when you have a strong dog like Clark, and a mentally strong dog like Clark, and a dog who's had so much control for so long, there's going to be a period of time where the dog is going to throw different things at you, and the dog's going to throw everything it's got to see how you respond to it. And so in their case, they have stayed the course and made sure that they don't back down from Clark, which is what they were doing in the past. And so Clark is now understanding that, okay, these ways that I've asserted myself in the past to get my way or to maintain control, they're not working anymore. And oftentimes, I call it getting over the hump, where you'll see, you reach a point where, like she said, something clicked and his whole demeanor has changed. And so what we're working to achieve is changing the perception of Clark, how he sees the family, and that includes the kids. So once that's been established, once that change has happened, and Clark does see the family the right way, he's going to engage with them differently, where he's not going to engage in power struggles anymore. He's not going to challenge them anymore. He's not going to react negatively when he does have something he wants to, or something he's chewing on, because he understands it's not his, and he understands what the expectations are. I always say rules and boundaries which are consistently enforced become expectations. So once Clark Once those expectations have been solidified in Clark's mind and he sees the family differently, that will be like the new standard default of behavior. And so this is a really, really awesome update. And so I'm really happy to hear this, especially in regards to the issues they're dealing with Clark, because these are not easy things to resolve. And they're going to take time and repetition. They're going to take a lot of work. And this family is putting in the work and doing what's necessary to achieve that goal. And so my hat is off to them. You know, I'm here every step of the way for them. And when I can give you another update in the future, I will do so. But so far, I think everything is going well with them. And I'm very, very proud of the results that they've accomplished. Ultimately, them going from when they first contacted me, they couldn't get within 10 feet of Clark when he had something, and the same with the kids. And now the fact that they can sit down with him when he's got something and they can engage with him, and we've reached that level pretty consistently, is a phenomenal sign. And so the goal now is just over time, we repeat these things until we don't even have these flare-ups anymore. We should see a total diminishment in the behavioral issue, in this case, Clark's resource guarding. So over time, this should become less and less. We don't have any bumps in the road anymore. We have no freakouts or flare-ups. And so we just have to remember what to do when those things happen, so that way we're building respect in Clark's eyes, so that way he doesn't even think to engage, because this is totally inappropriate and he understands his place in the home. When we are reestablishing the hierarchy of the home, Clark's going to understand that he is below the humans. So it's not his place to challenge or assert himself towards the people he lives with. And that's going to take some time, because he's used to being, in his mind, he's used to believing that he is at the top of the hierarchy. So it's going to take some time to undo that. But so far, everything is going very well. This is par for the course as far as I'm concerned. But the next update I give you, we should be getting reports that, hey, it's been X amount of weeks since anything's happened. That same change in his demeanor should still be there. And so that's when we know we've really made it.